Welcome fucking back. It's a Thursday night. We got a lot going on, a lot to get into.
A lot to get into.
We might be here for a couple hours.
Thanks for having me, man.
Dude, thank you for having me, and thank you for being back. We have a lot we want to get into. But before we can get into the big chunk of what we want to get into, there's a little bit of a thing we want to tie a little bit of a bow around. So we'll knock that out first. So that way, after that's done, we can get into the really juicy stuff that we want to get into. So, my favorite Jets fan, NFL draft came and went. I wanted to ask you how you feel about the Jets now from the last time we talked as a pessimistic New York sports fan, notwithstanding what we'll get into on a basketball sense.
I would definitely, I'll say the preliminary matter, just off the bat, I think we did pretty well.
Okay.
Now, do I have a few questions? Of course. It's the fucking Jets. They always make some move that you're just like kind of scratching your head. You're like, maybe it'll work out, but it's risky. And those are the type of bets the Jets never win. And going tight end at 16 with Lemon on the board, I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay.
I still like Cooper Jr., Amari Cooper Jr., but we did have to trade back in the first round to get him. And look, I get it. You're trying to give the most offensive weapons, like kind of going to Bear strategy. You're like, look, it's working so far with Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah, I got
Let's just have like a lot of talent on offense. So no matter where he goes with the ball, it's someone like talented. I get it. I get it. And that makes a lot of sense. That helps a rookie quarterback tenfold, especially when one of your receivers is Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
He's top 5, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care about stats. He's top 5.
Okay.
He's top 5. So I like what we did overall, but again, I was perplexed, absolutely perplexed by the tight end selection. I guess looking at it now, like I said, I'm okay with it, but whenever the Jets make a head-scratching decision, it doesn't work out. So always thinking about that. Also, I need to remember what quarterback we got. We got the I gotta look this up. I forgot already.
Say that one more time.
Cade Klubnik.
Yeah. Cade Klubnik. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to zone out for a second, but yeah,
no, you're good.
No, you're good. So Cade Klubnik gets drafted by. So I'll tell you my thoughts on the Jets.
Tell me your thoughts, because I'm okay with it overall. I just know we're not going to be good this year. So it's hard to be super optimistic.
So I yammered on for a lot yesterday, and I apologize to you in advance. But part of the reason why I did that was I wanted to set it up for this sort of discussion. I thought the Jets did an amazing job before Cade Klubnik. So I think Cade Klubnik doesn't really matter as much. And my rationale for that is this. I think they made the right picks within the beans of the Jets up until that. So, like, going out getting David Bailey, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't really that surprised they took him.
Yeah, but that made a lot of sense.
Like you mentioned, Mekhi Lemon. I think a lot of people maybe figured, hey, you know what? If they're at 16, they're going to take Mekhi Lemon. But the caveat, you never know how these things are going to play out. Mekhi Lemon is an amazing player. Him being on the Eagles is ridiculous. I'm gonna be honest.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous because he shouldn't be on the Eagles.
But he is. They are likely trading AJ Brown.
We'll get into that.
Yeah,
we'll get into that. But
so Devontae's going to be 1. They now need a young number 2.
But my point is that he shouldn't have made it that far.
Yeah, it's because they drafted him at 20, right?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh was at 21, and they were on the phone with him.
And then Philadelphia was like, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to come up and get him, right?
Smart move.
And, yeah, it makes sense for the Eagles. But as far as the Jets are concerned, I would say taking Kenyon Sadiq and Omar Cooper Jr., I think kind of offsets that just a little bit. Not to say that Mekhi Lemon's not amazing, but just on paper. You never know how it's going to play out. Obviously,
yeah, I'm glad they got a receiver.
I think there's a good chance. I think there's a good chance we won't the full extent of how good of a draft it was until not this season, but the year after and beyond.
Yeah,
because Gino's not going to be there long term.
Well, you heard our QB2, who our QB2 might be?
Russell Wilson potentially, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a Jets thing right there.
Well,
That's
why?
a Seattle.
Why?
Because
that's Jets bullshit, isn't it? Just the concept. The concept is Jets bullshit.
The concept is bullshit.
They can't keep doing this.
The concept is Jet bullshit because Gino and Russ were both in Seattle at the same time, and they're homies. And apparently, I don't know how accurate of a report this is, but from what I can gather and what I read, Gino and the Jets were having a little bit of a conversation. Like, hey, who do you think we should add in addition to you? And Gino's like, hey, you know what?
My homie
Russell Wilson.
That's a good friend, by the way. That's a good fucking friend.
My homie Russell Wilson's playing for the Savannah Bananas right now this weekend. Like, maybe you should give him a ring, like, give him a job, give him a couple million real quick, like, make sure he's taken care of. Like you said, and many others have said, like, that's a tank commander, right? And
yeah. So now they have 2 tank commanders, so they're guaranteed to tank.
And then I look at
that's the positive.
Yeah, and then I look at Cade Klubnik, and I think it's a twofold thing. It's an interesting conversation because we don't know the answer to this question. But in my humble opinion, I've never been the biggest Cade Klubnik guy. It's no disrespect to Cade. I wish him the best. I hope he's the franchise quarterback of the Jets. But I don't see it.
And that's okay.
And
I don't think a lot of people see
but what I do
no
see,
offense to him.
So here's what I think.
I'm rooting for him out of all people.
No, yeah. So here's what I think.
I hope he lights that shit up.
So this
but he does not like
So this is what I see. I see Geno Smith leading you down a nice tank campaign for about 10, 11 games. Maybe Russell Wilson's there, only X amount of people. Who knows? Regardless of whether Russell's there, it's Geno and Cade Klubnik. I think Geno and whoever, whatever it is, they get about 10, 11, 12 games. Cade Klubnik will come in at the end of the year. You'll see what he's got. You give him a chance. If he plays well, great. If he doesn't, what I think is going to happen, again, I hope he has success. But if I had to predict, and, they always say it's a business. Business is tough. You have to make tough decisions. There's nothing against him. I wish him the best. But I just don't think he's going to last as a starting quarterback of the Jets.
That's a tough ask.
He could be a backup.
Super Bowl winning quarterback Sam Darnold looked like he didn't belong in the league when he was on the Jets.
So my point is
he looked like he was going to be out of the league, and then he wins a Super Bowl. He wins the Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Unbelievable. We had him, Ryan. We had him.
And I get that.
But he would have never won that.
So the point I'm trying to make is this, and that's why I said it's a twofold thing. I think the first 4, maybe even 5 picks that the Jets made on the draft were spectacular. David Bailey, Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper Jr., and then D'Angelo Pons, teammates of Omar Cooper Jr. at Indiana. Yes. Honestly, I would say D'Angelo Pons could be the best out of all 4 of them, to be honest with you.
That'd be a great result for us. Assuming the other ones are still good.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I think, because, with D'Angelo Pons, he's a little bit undersized. He's not as big, but he can play. And he's a great corner. He's a great defensive back. The one thing with the Jets and what will determine the trajectory path of the Jets is the quarterback. So the point I'm trying to make is
always the same question.
So I don't think Cade Klubnik is the quarterback. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so. And realistically, what happens, they've got 3 first-round picks coming up in 2027. Regardless of where they finish in the standings,
they're trading for.
They will get a quarterback in 2027, and it's a deeper class. And this is notwithstanding one of the guys that we probably would have thrown out there, who's in gambling rehab right now, out of Texas Tech.
Another
Brendan
interesting
Sorsby.
Topic, yeah.
We'll get into that later, but I just think the Jets, like you mentioned, they do make those upside swings from time to time, and they don't pan out. But in this case, they made 3 or 4 or 5 upside swings, and I think at least 1 or 2 or 3, multiple will hit. The big question mark is and will always be the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that next year we have 3 first-round picks. I think Moogie, he's been getting some flack over his tenure, but I think he's actually doing a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, he got us 5 first-round picks. You trade it, you gave Sauce Gardner the biggest contract for a cornerback, and then traded him for like crazy value.
Oh yeah,
because you're a rebuilding team. Like a rebuilding team doesn't need a lockdown. Like, of course, it's nice to have a lockdown cornerback, but that's more of a luxury, right? Because they're not involved in enough plays to solely like try to handedly win a game.
Yeah,
you really need a quarterback.
No, I'm with you there.
You really need a quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers stuff didn't work out, so you're just back in another rebuild, and you're like, okay, what do you want as a really bad rebuilding team that has a history and still continues to do even under Moogie? Sign veterans to overpriced contracts, but that's just because you're a bad team. That's the only way you could get people to come. I'm just happy you got the first round picks, and the way I view it is if we fuck up these drafts, we're going to be asked for another 5 years. If we do well on them, we can be set.
And I think I would say I applaud the Jets for those first 4 or 5 picks, and I don't think they did bad business. I'm not a big Cade Klubnik guy, and that's the one thing that stops me from saying like, hey, that was a spectacular draft. But the caveat being is that I expect them either to take a Cade Klubnik or not take anybody at all. And so I figured that 2027 was going to be the year where we really evaluate the new general manager, Big Darren.
Yeah.
As far as what the quarterback blueprint is, because of course quarterback is the most important piece. But with the Jets specifically, I think this was a somewhat of an atypical draft in the sense that the Jets added really good talent that will help whatever quarterback will play for the Jets. So I hope for your sake and for all the Jets, Jets people out there, I hope it pans out. I think like you said a couple weeks ago, that might be asked. They might be the worst team in the league, but you're looking for progress within that. And that's the context of actually watching the games. I think that's what you're looking for if you're the Jets.
I want competitive games. We were not competitive in a lot of games last season.
They're not going to be a playoff team. I know it's early, but I'm pretty confident they're not going to make the playoffs. They'll probably finish last in the division.
Yes. Miami will suck too, but the Jets, I think, are purpose. I hope they actually purpose.
I feel like
we need a good pick.
We will not be able to fully talk about the current regime of the Jets until 2027.
I agree. I hope.
So I just
gets the lead.
I know the media is going to be impatient. They're going to talk a lot about a lot of things, but I would caution, let the non-quarterback players get their wings and develop. Don't overreact. Don't make any rational decisions. Easier said than done. And we'll talk about this with the NBA. But just be patient. Let these guys develop. And I think sooner than later, if they're patient, the Jets can get to where you and the Jets themselves want to get to. I would just say be patient.
Man, I hope so.
I hope so too.
The last time we had 3 first-round picks. Sorry to interrupt. But last time we had 3 first-round picks, we got Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson.
Okay.
And that didn't make us good long-term. You know why? Quarterback. We didn't have a quarterback. It all comes down to the quarterback.
I'm with you there, man. I'm really with you there. So I'm going to ask you real quick. Speaking of your New York teams, the Jets are done.
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say.
Knicks, baby.
The New York
winning
Knicks.
By 50. We got that text. I was like,
oh, yeah.
Already? Why they celebrate? Why everyone celebrate so early? They up 50. That made me feel good.
Largest lead at the half in NBA playoff history.
Look, they came out swinging. I was not able to watch the first half. I was able to watch the second half.
Oh, you watched the second half? I didn't watch the shit, so I just know the score.
They were just playing well.
They just
everywhere.
They just dominated.
Everyone was locked in.
One of those games.
I will say, running a lot of the offense through Karl Anthony Towns.
Triple-double with 2 games in the series, right?
It's been working. Running the offense through him has been working. You know me, I never liked that trade.
Playoffs.
But if it works out in the playoffs and we
okay,
get it, if we get a championship from this trade, I'll take back every negative thing I've said.
okay.
About
I'll tell you. So I'll tell you what. I want to ask you a question. So they win the series. They beat Atlanta. They win in 6. They were down 2-1.
That pissed me off.
They went 3
That
in a
pissed
row.
me off.
I want to ask you, Philly and Boston going to Game 7. The winner of that Game 7 is playing the Knicks. How do you feel about the Knicks heading into a second-round series against either one of those teams?
Honestly, Boston scares me more. Even if Philly comes out of the series, I think the Knicks match up well with them.
Okay.
Cat is not a good defender, so we already know Embiid will cook us. That series 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Where Embiid was a bit hurt, but he was still cooking us.
Oh, yeah. Embiid's a great player, by the way.
Look,
I know you hate Embiid, but like
where he grabbed Mitch's leg and then he was out.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like him.
Yeah.
But he's a
great player.
He'll cook us, but I just think we have enough. If OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, like our perimeter defenders,
is great, by the way, too.
Maxi's really good.
Oh yeah.
I think we could win that series. I'll just say, I think we win that series. I think if our perimeter defense is good, we get rebounds. Jalen Brunson and Cat do their thing. Like we win in 6 games. I really think that.
Okay.
Boston scares me more. I know we beat them last year. It essentially take us playing like we did last year, which means good defense, good hustle plays. You shoot well, a high percentage in clutch time. That is how they won the first 2 games that series ago, 2-0.
Okay.
On the road. And at that point, you kind of could feel they were going to win the series. I'm a pessimistic Knicks fan, so I was like, oh, man, are they going to fuck it up? But I kind of knew deep down, I'm like, dude, we won 2-0 at the Garden. We are winning this series. But nonetheless, that happened last year. Boston is really good this year. Peyton Pritchard's taking a step up. Jaylen Brown is now more comfortable being the number 1 option because Tatum's still reestablishing himself. That's going to be a 7-game series for sure.
Okay.
I really think that. That's going to be a hard-fought 7 games, and that Game 7 is going to be a nail-biter.
Okay.
There'll be a few blowouts in between, but that Game 7 is going to be a nail-biter.
So you think Boston wins, they play the Knicks, and it's a really good series?
It's a really good series. Of course, I'm going to take my Knicks. Knicks in 7.
Okay.
And then we'll play some other team.
So
Knicks in 6. I'll just say it.
Okay.
Then we go to the finals.
So I want to ask
Knicks
you
in
real
7.
quick, non-Knicks, rest of the playoffs. How are you feeling about the rest of the playoffs?
The Magic have surprised me.
Okay.
The Magic, that's a team where they make it to like the Eastern Conference Finals and the Knicks do. I'd be concerned if they're still playing the way they're currently playing and Wagner comes back fully healthy. I think he got hurt last game, right?
Yeah, he's not going to play Game 6.
Yeah. Like they've just been so locked in defensively. It's absurd. Desmond Bane's earning those draft picks. Fans are chanting, "Fuck them picks." You know what I'm saying? They are just ready to play, and you could tell from their playing game. You're like, oh, whoa, this is kind of what you were looking for the whole season.
Okay.
That they weren't able to do. So that's been a big surprise for me. If they take out Detroit in the first round, big deflation for Detroit, right? Riding high from the first round, going to kind of feel like the Cavs last year, like number 1 seed for the whole season. And then you flame out early in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens there. I think the Magic do pull it off, though.
Okay.
I know Detroit won today, yesterday.
So you think Orlando's going to pull it out?
I think Orlando's going to pull it out.
Okay, that's where we disagree. I think Detroit's going to win it.
Really?
I think so. I don't think they'll make it out of the East, but I think Detroit wins the series. But maybe I'm wrong.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Either way, it doesn't matter. I see what you're saying, though. Like, I'll be honest, Orlando's played better than I thought they would. I didn't think they were going to play this one up. I think after they beat the absolute dog crap out of Charlotte,
that was a beatdown.
They beat the crap out of them. I'll be honest, I didn't expect that. I had Charlotte making the playoffs. Orlando beat the dog crap out of them. I think Orlando, like you said, they've been playing away in a playoff that you would have hoped they would have played in the regular season. It sucks that Franz is out, Franz Wagner. But they'll have about an 8-man rotation. I think Detroit's going to still win the series, but I don't think Detroit's going to make the finals. They're still a young team, though. I think them being number one in the East maybe overinflated the expectations a little bit, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to be a good there you go, long term team. I will say, in addition, that I kind of want to pivot to the West real quick because right now we've got that Denver Minnesota game on. It's the fourth quarter. Minnesota's up 84-80. I'm kind of curious to see what do you think about that series with Minnesota and Denver.
Minnesota, I thought Denver was going to win this series easily in the beginning. Very quickly, I realized, no, I think Minnesota might have this one. They're playing hard. Rudy Gobert, he's taking it personally. He didn't win Defensive Player of the Year,
Yeah.
He's playing his ass off.
He's convinced himself that it's a snub, right?
He's convinced himself. And, hey, Minnesota should be happy he didn't win because he is playing lights out.
Yeah.
Playing great defense.
A little shippiness. Jalen Clark. There you go.
Oh, we got to see if there's an ejection. We got to see if there's an ejection.
All right, there you go. 9:47 left in the fourth quarter. It's 86-80. My favorite part, official standing in the middle. We don't know what's going to happen. Jokic in the middle of everything. I'm curious to see though. Like, okay, here's Jokic again.
I don't want to see if there's an ejection.
Okay. So here's Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr. By the way, I love me some Terrence Shannon Jr. He's a clutch guy, but part of Illinois. You put him on another team. He's one of the best young players here on the team. There you go. Jalen Clark and Jokic. Naz Reid kind of throws in a little bit. McDaniels getting in the middle of it. Hardaway pulls Jokic back. Coach is getting in the middle of it. It's a whole spiel and ordeal. This is a chippy series. It's absolutely a rivalry. Jokic kind of hit Clark.
He initiated that.
And then Jalen Clark out of UCLA gives a little bit of a flop job. Jokic pleads his case to the officials. Hey, don't eject my ass. Gives him a little bit of a semi-Ty Lue, Allen Iverson step over. It's interesting. Well, this is live, by the way. This is Jaden McDaniels, who's been in the middle of Rudy Gobert's right there. Naz Reid. Yeah, Jokic says, fuck your bitch ass. Jalen Clark says, who you throwing me to the ground? I'm going to hit your ass a little bit back. Much to do about nothing. But this is a rivalry, right? I think this is one of those series, to be honest, where it's unfortunate that only one can win and one can lose. I think the reactions will be toxic regardless of who wins and who loses. But these are two really good teams, man. I think sometimes just only one team can win a championship, and neither of these teams might win a championship, but that doesn't mean they're bad teams. But here we go. The cameras on Naz Reid and Jokic, and the referees are at the monitors, a whole spiel. As I mentioned, 86 Minnesota. Denver's got 80, 9:47 to go. Minnesota's up 3-2 in the series. But so you think if Minnesota wins this game, it's a disaster for Denver, correct?
I think it's a disaster. Look, I know there's injuries in Denver. Payne Watson, Aaron Gordon. Those are big losses for them.
Uh-huh.
The Timberwolves won the game where Ant went out. And DiVincenzo. They went out in the same game. DiVincenzo's out for a year. Achilles injury. I love DiVincenzo.
Rest in peace, man. I hope he's okay.
Nick. I hope he comes back.
Not rest in peace because he's not dead, but you know what I mean. He'll be back.
Yeah, it's always a concern that
he'll be back. In modern medicine,
hey man, the surgery's been getting better. Tatum looks brand new.
Oh yeah. Modern medicine. I was gonna say, DiVincenzo's gonna be right back. Same thing, even with Ant, less serious. He'll be back too.
Hey, speaking of Achilles, you know what I saw the other day that I completely forgot about? I was watching Spurs Portland, not the game where the Spurs won the series last game, but like one of the game 2 maybe. Watched like a quarter of it, and they went to the Portland sideline, like where the players are, and it was Dame Lillard, and I'm like, oh, I forgot that guy's on the Trailblazers again.
He won the 3-point contest with a torn Achilles, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I forgot.
Crazy,
I remember they're like, Dame Lillard for the Trailblazers. Like, what fucking year is this? The fuck? I didn't watch the All-Star game, but I remember
it's your 3-point champion.
But I forgot again.
3-point champion with a torn Achilles recovery, by the way.
Absurd. I forgot again. And then in the playoffs, I'm like, what the fuck? There he is. Forgot he was on a team because he didn't play at all this year. I hope he comes back all right next year. He's fun guy to watch.
I think so too. I'll be interested to see what happens with Portland. There was a big hoopla about the new ownership. Uh, they kind of came into power throughout during the season,
And then
and
they didn't want to send two-way players.
there
What
was a
kind
big
of
there
what
was a
the
big
hell,
hoopla, and then
man?
and then the
No
Jet,
T-shirts at the playoff game. Come on, what are we doing?
and then the general manager comes out today in their exit interviews and says the two-way players not going to San Antonio. Game 1 and 2 was my bad, not the owner's fault. That was my bad. I fucked that up. And
How
then,
much they pay him to say that?
well, that's why he's not getting fired.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I do the same. You got to do what you got to do.
So I'll be interested for Portland specifically, and we'll talk about this more later on. But I'll be interested to see if Thiago Splitter ends up being the full-time head coach, or if they go and hire somebody else. There have been rumors that maybe they've been trying to look after some college coaches, maybe offer a little bit less money than NBA coaches. God forbid, get offered instead of like 5 million, it's or 3 million. God forbid, it's 1.5 million or something like that. How are these guys
God
gonna?
forbid, right?
How are these guys? How are these guys going to survive on $1.5 million?
Think about their
contract?
children.
Think about the families and the
Yeah.
children. The wife is most happy. Wife, happy life. Do you think the wife's going to be happy if you're taking only $1.5 million? Come on now. But I'll be interested to see what happens with Portland. They were the 7th seed. I didn't think they were going to be San Antonio. That lost in 5. I will say there have been 8 series so far in the first round. The only 2 series that really haven't been that interesting are the OKC Phoenix series and San Antonio Portland. I think it's no coincidence that one of those 2 teams, in my opinion, is going to win the championship.
OKC
or San Antonio.
Oh, you think one of those 2?
I'll be honest.
I'm going to say this. I mean it. Knicks, Spurs in the finals. Knicks in 6 all day.
Okay, yeah,
I know you might disagree.
That's okay. I love you, man. I hope the Knicks win, but I will say, in my opinion, I think for this year particularly, I think there are only 2 teams that are going to win it. It's either going to be OKC or it's going to be San Antonio. I know with track record and the way that the NBA works, San Antonio probably has to wait a year or so. But I think if any team was ever going to buck that trend, it would be San Antonio. And I think much the way that we're talking about OKC and Minnesota as a rivalry, with Naz Reid hitting a big 3 right now.
Big 3.
With the timeout by David Adelman and the Nuggets, it's 91-87 Minnesota with 7:44 to go. Minnesota's up by 4 with the chance to win the series without Ant-Man, no Ayo Dosunmu, no Dante DiVincenzo. But separate to that, I think OKC and San Antonio is probably a good shout to be another rivalry. Honestly, San Antonio dogged OKC in the regular season. If you watch those games, San Antonio was
I didn't watch.
team.
I just saw the scores on them. I was like, whoa.
San Antonio, now granted, they played each other like 3 times in the span of about a week and a half or 2 weeks, and San Antonio had their number in that stretch. I think in a 7-game series, it's a small sample size. I think they could play each other 7 years in a row, and they would probably split 4-3. They're both really great organizations in different ways. If I had to predict, I think one of those 2 is going to win the finals. Depending on what day you ask me, it would be one of those 2. I do think the East is wide open. I do kind of want to open up in the East because we've talked about Orlando and Detroit and the Knicks.
I'm a pessimistic Knicks fan.
I will say,
I'm also a delusional Knicks fan.
I want to talk about Cleveland and Toronto real quick because I got a couple of thoughts there. We can elaborate on it further over time. But with Toronto, I always have a special place in my heart for the Raptors over the years. I didn't think they were going to win this series, but I'm happy they made the playoffs. I don't think they're as bad of a team as maybe they get credit for. They've played Cleveland about as well as they could, and especially Brandon Ingram hasn't played well, and he got hurt last game.
Ooh, I didn't realize he got hurt.
But Scotty Barnes
is he out for the series? Or?
I actually, to be honest, I wish I could tell you this. This is where we're not Shams Charania. I didn't look into that, but I know he didn't. I think he played like 11 minutes yesterday. But the rest of that team, Scotty Barnes is amazing. I mentioned Colin Murray Boyles as a rookie. I love his game. Jamal
He's
Shea.
a game time decision.
There you go. Emmanuel quickly hasn't even played, by the
And
way.
he's not going to.
And he's not going to. And he's a good player. RJ Barrett, kind of disrespected. He's not an amazing superstar player, as the media will say, but I think he's better than what he gets credit for. It's not a bad team. But, Cleveland's an interesting case. There's a lot of narratives about James Harden, about Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, all the Cleveland team in general. I think it's really fascinating. They're 2-2. Home team wins all 4 games. What's the main story out of Game 5? The Game 5 storyline is that Dennis Schroeder is the difference maker in Game 5.
Who would have thought?
And Kenny Atkinson says in the post-game presser, hey, you know what? I wanted to put Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley back in the game, and they came to me. And they said, hey, you know what? Keep that group in there. They're playing well. And I want to shout out Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis on the Cavs because they come from the Kings. And we'll talk about the Kings over the course of time. And they were the worst team in the league this season in many ways. But I think 2 things can be true at once. They were the worst team, but it doesn't mean they have bad players. Keon Ellis we'll talk about. Mike Brown didn't like Keon Ellis for some reason. And Keon Ellis was banished to the shadow realm. Doug Christie didn't play him that much either. It felt obvious that Keon Ellis was going to get traded, but he's a good player. And then Dennis Schroeder is a guy who's been passed around like a blunt at a frat party. He's been everywhere. But there's a reason why Cleveland went out and got Dennis Schroeder, and Kenny Atkinson has hinted at it. Is, hey, this is a guy who's a gold medal guy with Germany. He's played a lot of big games in FIBA, big playoff games. He's played in a lot of different places. Not everybody likes Dennis Schroeder because of the personality, and we'll get into this with the Houston and Lakers series. But at halftime of Game 5, apparently Dennis Schroeder kind of addresses the team a little bit, has a great second half, wins the game in many ways for them. I'll just say I think it's one of those things where maybe NBA media won't talk about it, but we will. And so with the Kings, for example, like maybe they're not a great team, but even the guys that are still there and that aren't Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis are still pretty solid.
They have good players. And look, Dennis Schroeder, I mean, who would have thought, though, like Donovan Mitchell wasn't the guy winning you a playoff game with Dennis Schroeder. There's no knock on Dennis Schroeder. Donovan Mitchell is like a max player,
No, of course.
And Dennis Schroeder, I mean, he's a savvy vet.
He's been around.
He's known for being, a vocal guy. And a lot of teams. He's been on a lot of teams, but he's helped a lot.
He's been on a lot of he's been on a lot of
teams. You don't
teams.
hear really a lot of negatives.
He's been on a lot of teams because he is that controversial guy. And that, like the Kings, I don't think the Kings jive with that shit. And I think Cleveland.
Well, the Kings don't jive with winning.
And that's why I think
at the bottom line.
And I think part of the reason why maybe Cleveland went out and got him and Keon Ellis might have been the sweetener and all that. But the Cleveland will convince you part of the reason it was because of Dennis Schroeder. And the reason is because he's a guy who's all about winning, and maybe his personality might rub people the wrong way, but he's about winning. So he might ruffle some feathers, but that's what he's about. So look, I think the East is wide open, and I want to flip it now to the Lakers and the Rockets, because the Lakers go up 3-0.
Another big 3-0.
Big 3-0 without Luka and AR.
Unexpected 3-0.
Everybody from media members to social media and people you never heard about are roasting the Rockets. How are they down 3-0? Blah 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 blah. Rockets go out. You don't know how they're going to come out in Game 4. There are a lot of cases where maybe a team will fold. They get swept. They'll lose in 5. I give a ton of credit to the Rockets. And I don't know what the hell Alperen Sengun said, but Arman Thompson gives a speech. Not a speech, but in these post-game interviews, a lot of times these post-game interviews, regardless of the sport, they're useless. They don't do anything. But in this one particular context, they ask Arman Thompson this question, and he says, hey, Sengun gave a speech really fired us up. They win game 4.
Win game 5.
And then before game 5, Jabari Smith Jr. comes out before the game in his media presser and says, we're the better team, blah, 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 blah. They go out and they win game 5. I give a ton of credit to Houston for, listen, I think a lot of people forget Şengün, 23. Arman Thompson, 23. Jabari Smith, 22. Reed Shepard, 21. Tari Eason, 24. These are really young players.
That are really good.
That
team without Kevin Durant
is a great team.
I think a top 4 seed last. Were they
last year with Green and Dylan Brooks? Yeah, they lost to the Warriors in 7 games. They were down 3-1. They came back. They won 2 games in a row. They lost in 7.
But they were, what seed did they end with? You recall? I think they were top 4. They were pretty good.
It was top 6. I might not.
They didn't make the play. They made a playoff. So
yeah, they made the
top 6.
Honestly, I wish I could tell you, man. My brain's fucking mashed potatoes, scrambled eggs, whatever. But like, my point is I think there was a little bit of an overreaction. And yes, I stand by what I said. Houston in the regular season played down to their competition. The chemistry with Kevin Durant wasn't that great. I think a couple games here and there were missing the Kings with Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. They lost to them twice. Those 2 games alone, they'll probably end up in the 3 seed.
That's true.
And instead of the 5 seed, they're playing the Lakers. Yeah, they lost the first 2 games. They played down. No Luka, no AR. They choked game 3. They're down 3-0. Everybody's mocking them. You don't know how it's going to play out. Maybe, hey, you know what? Maybe they lose the series, but you don't know how it's going to play out. I still believe in them. But they win game 4. They win game 5. I'll tell you right now, I think they win game 6. We'll get a game 7. It's a toss-up at that point. But regardless of what happens, I think if Houston's smart, patient with those 5 guys, bring back Tari Eason, bring back all those other guys. Don't overreact. Don't do anything else. Kevin Durant notwithstanding, you've got those 5 guys as your core. Add to that. That's a really solid 5. They can defend. They can rebound. Yes, they can't shoot. I'll admit that. Their shooting's not that great. Outside of maybe Reed Shepard or some of those guys like Tari Eason, if he gets hot. He was really off from the 3-point line after the All-Star break, but he's had a couple of good games in this series. I think Jabari Smith Jr. is a guy who I think is actually better than the statistical averages, and maybe next year onwards can be an All-Star guy. Şengün's really good. Arman Thompson is really good as a 2-way guy. And if Arman Thompson can shoot the 3 ball, it only unlocks what he's already got. He doesn't even need to shoot the 3. I think Houston's a really great team.
I think they have a bright future.
So, whoever wins that series, I honestly don't really care. If the Lakers win that series, I'm still really high on Houston moving forward, so long as they don't overreact.
Well, ESPN had a mock overreaction trade. Would you like to hear it?
I would love to hear it.
So ESPN had an article about Kawhi Leonard proposed trades this summer. And this trade is titled Rockets Go All In. The Rockets get Kawhi Leonard and Brook Lopez. The Clippers get, starting with Şengün, Shepard, and Steven Adams, but no picks, just those 3 guys.
Okay.
I'll be honest, Şengün is a young all-star player. I mean, I don't know if I'd give him up for what? Another year or 2? I mean, Kawhi has bad knees. How many more years can he play? I know he just had a great year, but he's always an injury away from being out for an indefinite time. So you have to be a little careful with that. And that is such a big risk to trade your best young guy. I think Şengün's your best young player. I think he's your second best player other than Durant. I don't think a lot of people are arguing with me on it. I think you agree with that as well. He's their number 2 guy. He was their number 1. But then Durant came in. So I found that trade interesting. In general, they had, I think, 5 or 6 proposed trades for Kawhi. Honestly, the one I thought made the most sense was a Miami Heat trade.
Okay.
So Miami gets Kawhi Leonard and Chris Dunn. The Clippers get a 2030 unprotected first, a 2032 unprotected first, so 6 years away. Andrew Wiggins and Tyler Hero.
Okay.
So 2 firsts and guys who can keep you selling somewhat of your tickets right now.
So I want to ask you something on the subject of Miami a little bit. I want to ask you about Pat Riley a little bit.
He's been in the media.
He's been in the media. He had a couple of banger quotes. Uh, kind of we talked about the great tanking controversy of 2026.
Oh yes, we could have many more episodes regarding that.
Yes,
many more.
And I think part of that subsection of that is a team like the Miami Heat, where Pat Riley comes out and says, "Look, like we're not going to tank. We're going to compete. We're going to try to make the playoffs. We don't do that tanking shit." I want to ask you, how do you feel about that? Do you think that that's a smart thing to do, or do you think that that's just maybe the wrong way to look about it?
Well, I'll start with this.
Okay.
Pat Riley, the basketball guy, through and through. Absurd amount of championships. Player, coach, and now executive. So with him, I think he has so much respect for the game that he can't allow a team he has control of to tank. It goes against his core beliefs about basketball and his whole career up until this point. So from that perspective, on a principle level, I get it. But if you're looking at it for what's smart for the franchise going forward and trying to win a championship, being mediocre, as the Pittsburgh Steelers, does not give you a good enough pick and good enough value to actually turn your team around. So you're just trying to bank on free agents. But the thing is, with the cap restrictions right now, you can only have 2 max players, and Bam's already a max player. So it's really, they essentially have eliminated the super team with the new apron system. I mean, not completely eliminated, but you know what I mean.
No, I got you.
Yeah, it's very cap prohibitive to have multiple max deals and limits, especially the money you could spend on your bench and mid-level exceptions and salaries you could take in trades and all that type of flexibility really handicaps you in all aspects of transactions.
I got you.
So, you look at it from that perspective, it's like, okay, you don't want to be in that boat, but at the same time, if you're not going to be a team that's drafting high enough to get an impact player, someone's going to turn you around immediately, you're going to be in no man's land. And the Heat have been in no man's land. They, even with Jimmy Butler, and I think Jimmy Butler kind of gave them like almost a false sense of security, because going to, I think both of their finals appearances, the COVID year, and 2020, a few years left.
Yeah. Against Denver, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Each time,
and that was the year they lost. That was the year they were up 3-0. They lost to Boston, right? That was the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did they beat Boston?
They beat Boston, but they were up 3-0, and then Tatum got hurt in Game 7. Yep.
So, I think they were 8th seed. At least they were an 8th seed when they had that Boston series, and the other time they were a low seed as well. So I think the fact they made the finals and Jimmy, being a great player, winner, two-way player, playoff riser, really was trying to drive that team to the finish line, I think kind of emboldened Pat Riley on his approach. At a certain point, and look, he doesn't have to be tanking per se, but it could just be like, look, you have good players, you want to build around them, but maybe you should just get max value and try to get a free agent and open up your cap space and do those kinds of things. I feel like they've kind of just been in no man's land for a while now. They were even when Jimmy was there, right? When they essentially after the big 3, they've been in no man's land. The 2 finals appearances kind of mask what's going on, but at the end of the day, they've been a consistently mediocre team.
I got you.
But Pat Riley, he's a basketball savant, and I think his ethos is he doesn't want to do anything that hurts winning, even in the short term.
I got you.
So, but I want to know your take on it.
Yeah, I think you're pretty similar. I would say, I think that's the approach that the NBA wants. We'll get into the great tanking controversy of 2026 in further depth, but I think, a guy like Pat Riley is a legend. He's been around for a long time. He's not going to tank intentionally. He's going to try to win.
Always.
He had a quote within his exit interview where Pat Riley basically said, like, yeah, you know what? I'm not trying to break up this core. We're trying to make a top 6 seed. We're trying to make a push for the playoffs. I'm not really a tanking kind of guy. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I would even extend that to the Phoenix Suns a little bit, where I feel like the Phoenix Suns are kind of the West Coast version of the Miami Heat without the success. I think a guy like Matt Ishbia's got a lot of good PR, and he's saying a lot of the right things that Adam Silver and the NBA and the other owners want to hear. And I know he has a rivalry with the Cavs and Dan Gilbert and some kind of
You told me about that.
mortgage rivalry or whatever, which you can do that in another time. But yeah, I think with Phoenix, it's a similar version without the success where it's like, hey, you know what? We want to be competitive. We're not going to tank. We're going to try to win a championship every year. We might not, but we're going to try. And there are multiple ways to build a team. I think Miami's an interesting spot. I think they could be one of the teams that gets Giannis potentially. And I don't really think that makes much of a difference regardless. But I think my point is I think Miami's the sort of team.
You don't think Giannis makes a difference?
It's not that I don't think he makes a difference. I just think that it depends. Like, are they going to win a championship with Giannis and without making? It depends what else they do. It depends, like I look at Giannis as a guy who hasn't been healthy. I look at Giannis as one of the best players in the league, but it's a really talented league. There's a lot of great teams out there. Like, they might not be guaranteed the success that they think they're going to get if they just get one big superstar. I think there's a lot more to it than that. I do think Miami's going to go out and swing. I think there's a good chance to get Giannis. I think if I had to bet, I think Giannis goes to Miami. As of right now, I think it just makes a lot of sense. But does it mean they're going to win a championship? I don't know. But it doesn't mean that Pat Riley's not one of the best executives of all time either. So it's a little bit of twofold thing.
Do you think Kawhi Leonard's going to get traded this offseason? Because I have my own thoughts on that.
Kawhi's an interesting case. I know a lot of unknown because of the aspiration thing. That's interesting. I'll say this.
How would it assume that the aspiration thing isn't a factor?
If it isn't a factor, I think he stays. If it is a factor,
so you think because of that they want to get?
I think it's contingent.
I wasn't thinking about it that angle.
Okay, I think about that. I think it like that. I think if it's not a factor, he stays. If it is a factor, he's gone. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know there's a lot of mock stuff with Kawhi too, like where he might end up. Maybe Golden State was a name that's been thrown around.
That makes sense in my head.
Okay.
At the same time, though, I don't know what the value is, like the market is for him. He's coming off his best season as a Clipper, which means his best season in what, like 6 years? And he might have had good seasons before this, but I think he's missed over 50% of his games. That isn't reliable enough to say we're going to go give up a lot of value for him to try to win a championship when he's, 35 right now? Somewhere, give or take 1 year.
Yeah, no.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. And essentially, the Clippers went all in on him when he was younger. And it didn't work. And going all in, I mean, having to give up multiple first-round picks and players.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what the mock trade said. And I'm like, I don't know if that market is there for him. I think, I'll put it this way. If that is the actual market for him, the Clippers would have to trade him. Because they already know they're not going to win a championship next year. They already conceded that when they got rid of James Harden, which they got Darius Garland, which I think would bet better in the long term, because Harden would be retired in a few years. He's older.
Yeah.
And they got rid of Zubac because purely for picks, essentially. Oh, and
Ben Mathurin.
Ben Mathurin, who has been, by the way, he was like lights out when he got to the Clippers.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So I can't disrespect him. It wasn't just for the picks, but the picks were a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because they don't have anything of the fucking Paul George trade.
And OKC. That pick going to OKC. That's right.
Not just the picks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
That's right.
I mean, unbelievable.
J-Dub, too, was one of those picks.
So I just think the Clippers, if you really are serious about building for the future, you need to at least explore Kawhi's market. And I think if you get players that can make an impact and a first-round pick, at least one first-round pick, you make that trade. I know only getting like one first round pick doesn't make sense in the context that Desmond Bain commanded 4 and things like that. But the same, and Kawhi averaged 28 this last year, played all NBA.
Oh yeah,
and a lot of games.
Oh yeah.
But I'm still, a part of me thinks that GMs don't even want to go near him. It's just like, dude, he gets hurt too much. It doesn't make sense for me to like sell the owner on this.
Big facts, brother. Big facts. So I want to ask you before we wrap this up. I want to ask you, any concluding thoughts about the NBA heading into the second round, end of the first round?
The Knicks won by a shit ton today, so I'm back in my delusional Knicks fan era.
Go Knicks.
I remember when we lived together, I was saying we're going to get Zion, number 1 pick, who the worst team, and KD and Kyrie with their 2 max slots. We got 0 for 3. So I'm back on that bullshit. Knicks will win the finals.
Okay. Back on that delusional. Okay.
Oh yeah. We'll see how quickly I go pessimistic.
I love you, man. But yeah, okay. I don't believe in that, but I love it. I love you too.
That's hater bullshit. What do you mean you don't believe in it?
I don't believe the Knicks are going to win the finals. Man.
All right. We'll win in contravention of you.
Okay, there you go. Listen, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. By the way, I love you, man. I hope they win, but no, I don't think they're going to win it. I hope they do.
That's okay. We'll agree to disagree on that.
Yeah,
you know me. I got my.
You know me, man. I root for the Knicks.
In my delusional phase.
I root for the Knicks because of you. But I love you, man. It's been a blast. I appreciate you.
Always a pleasure, man.
Always
Thanks
a pleasure, man. No, dude. Thank you, man. It's been the Unfiltered Report. I'm Ryan. Arman to my right. Much love. We'll get this cracking soon enough.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Have a good one.
Hey, you too, man.